What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going over my Draftkings and Fanduel NFL picks for week number 9. We have a 10-game slate for tomorrow. Give you guys a core group of guys that I have in my main lineup right now, ones that I like, talk about some other ones that stick out as well. Let's get started. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the website if you want to join, dsprocess.net. Check out Twitter for updates at the DFS process, and let's get started. So, starting off with the quarterback position, we don't have a ton of pay-ups here. You have Josh Allen against the Jets. He's the only guy that's above 8K. You have a $1,000 plus $1,100 price drop off to the next guy, which is Kyler Murray. Picking between the top two, I definitely would still find the extra money to get up to Josh Allen if I was going to pay up. But there are some value quarterbacks that I like, and you have some other great running back options that you want to get to this week. So I don't mind paying down a bit. If I was also another guy, I probably like Herbert more than Murray as well. It's pretty easy to stack the Chargers this week just because they're missing their top two wide receivers. So, all the production is going to have to go to Eckler. It's going to have to go to Palmer, and probably Gerald Everett will soak up some. Looking at the quarterbacks that are in the 6K and below range, you have Brady right at 6K. You have Rodgers at 59. One of the few times we'll ever see Aaron Rodgers be this cheap, but it's been warranted given his play this year. Hasn't had one game over 20 fantasy points. They have seemed to run the football a lot, and there's not scoring as many touchdowns as usual, although going up against the Lions is a recipe for an offense kind of breaking out. So I don't mind Rodgers at all at 59, but I'll go with a guy that's playing better than him that's $100 less, that's been a top 8, probably even a top 7 quarterback this year. That's been Geno Smith. Leading the Seahawks to currently first place in the division. 13 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. He also runs the football a little bit. Probably see him scamper at least 3 to 5 times. Could get you a rushing touchdown if you're lucky, but if not, just give you, hopefully 2 to 5 fantasy points just with his legs. And he still has great weapons, still has a great back. And the matchup is good against the Cardinals defense. They've been serving up some points through the air and averaging teams to score almost 4 touchdowns against him a week. And Smith's a guy that you don't even have to stack if you don't want to with him. You can just play him. Other quarterbacks I like are Taylor Heineke, just because he's going up against the Vikings, who are also terrible against the pass. He's actually plays pretty well at a quarterback position for fantasy purposes. He will take shots downfield. We saw that last week setting up the game-winning touchdown when he hit McLaurin late. And it was seconds left in that game. He will also, he can run a little bit if needed. Not really, not as much as Smith, but I like his price tag. Love the matchup. He's at home. You have Derek Carr coming off of an absolute stinker where he just hasn't looked good at all this year. He's getting paid so much money to put up these numbers. He's not getting as much hate as Russell Wilson, which a little surprising, but hey, it's Derek Carr for you. And possibly you can consider Fields or Walker for tournaments. Low-owned guys that give you upside, especially Fields with his legs. But Walker, if you're playing DJ Moore, you can consider stacking him. At least you're letting him throw the ball. Over at running back, there's so many good running backs this week. But personally, I will find the money to get to Austin Eckler. Not having Keenan Allen and not having Mike Williams, it's just going to set up Eckler to probably catch a double-digit passes again for the 3rd straight week. He's also going to get you 10 plus carries, most likely. You're looking at over 20 touches easily for Eckler, upside to 25 plus touches. Matchup is excellent against the Falcons. Through the air, they should crush. And Eckler's finally, not finally, but he's been really, really good fantasy-wise since week number 4. 3 out of 4 games over 35 fantasy points, basically. You got to love him against the Falcons being shorthanded with the receivers. Taylor is out, so they did bring in Zach Moss, but you'll also have Robinson at $5,200 or Jackson at $5,200 soak up some production we saw the last time he started in place of Taylor. When he was out, he put up 28 fantasy points and had 10 catches. That was with Matt Ryan. Now they have Sam Ehlinger back there, so we'll see. But we know Chuba Hubbard is out again this week, so another value running back that wasn't very popular last week for some reason, but hope you guys played him, was Deontay Foreman. We played, it was in the video at the final look video for last week. He put up 35 points, 3 touchdowns on the ground. He didn't have any receptions, but he could get you some passes. Caught, not too many, but at least give you some upside. He's can be a 3-down workhorse, and if he's going to get 20-plus touches, which he definitely will, against the Bengals team that he's given up over 125 yards on the ground. I mean, how can you not like him at this price tag? So personally, I think a lot of projections have Deion Jackson favored over Foreman, but personally, I like Foreman more than Jackson. And then the other running back that I really, really love, and it's going to be very tough to fade him, is Travis Etienne Jr. at 63. Considering, we'll see if Harris is able to play. If he's out, then Rodmore Stevenson at 62 is also going to be one that you'd probably try to get to. In that case, I might be forced to get off of Foreman if we get that news in the morning. But Etienne, Foreman, Eckler, right now, assuming that these guys that are questionable end up playing, those are my 3 favorite running backs that just want to jam in. Etienne looked so explosive last week. Finally had the backfield all to himself, with them shipping away James Robinson at the deadline. And Etienne also got you a couple passes, only 6 yards, but did have 3 receptions. And he's going to get the goal line work as well. Moving on to wide receivers. Top end, you have Kupp, Jefferson. It's pretty loaded, but it'll be a little bit tough because I do prefer paying up for Eckler as my main guy. I like Hopkins at 79. I mean, also wasn't too popular last week. He absolutely smashed. Going up against the Vikings, another double-digit reception game. Great matchup against the Seahawks defense. He should crush again. Just a matter of if you will have the money to get to him. I don't mind paying down a little bit. We have a bunch of value receivers with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen being ruled out for the Chargers. I think you want to start with Joshua Palmer as one value guy. $5,100. Last week he had 12 targets, 9 receptions, only for 57 yards. They didn't throw that many yardage against the Broncos defense, but that should change against the Falcons. You could see some big plays even with them missing their top 2 threats. We've seen Palmer be able to soak up and play well when he's given some targets and given some opportunities. So I love his price tag. And then like DJ Moore, with them not having Robbie Anderson anymore, with Walker actually looking downfield and throwing a bit. A game against the Rams, they didn't even let Walker throw barely any passes. He was all run, throw like screen passes the whole game. Last 2 games are at least letting him throw downfield, and DJ Moore is finally starting to break out. He couldn't do anything with Baker Mayfield, and seems like all receivers will struggle with Baker Mayfield there. No surprise with Odell Beckham winning out a few years ago. But DJ Moore, $5,800. Price tag is super cheap. Really like the only receiving threat on the Panthers, so get him at sub 6K. Love it. Other ones, you still have like McLaurin at 59. He's going to benefit with having Heineke back there. Back-to-back games with Heineke starting. He got 8 targets. Almost had a touchdown last week, but he did get over 100 yards for the second time this year. First time since week number 3. Just going to continue to look upwards for him as long as Heineke's back there. Even though Godwin's been super disappointing, he still looks like a great guy that's just going to be peppered with targets. Very safe guy for fantasy purposes. He's going to get you at least 10 targets. Matchup's not the easiest, but he's at home. He's probably due for a touchdown at some point this year. Don't know when it's going to happen. Don't even have the Seahawks guys if you want to stack Geno Smith with Metcalf or Lockett. They're also in good matchups against the Cardinals. So even though you got a bunch of good receivers to pay up for, you also have a lot of value that could pay dividends. That's right now what I will try to do, because looking to definitely get to Eckler is going to be my favorite pay up. Just overall on both running backs and wide receivers. Looking at the tight end pool, value-wise, possibly like Evan Ingram at 33. Finally saw him have his first touchdown of the season last week, and could have had another one, but he was getting held. There was a penalty for that. But back-to-back games over 10 fantasy points. He's starting to make his presence felt in Jacksonville. It's a good matchup against the Raiders. So I don't mind him. Pay up a little bit more for like a Dawson Knox or a Hayden Hurst if you want to. I like Tanyan a bit against the Lions. And then one of my favorite payouts would be, Pitts is there for like a guy that you can take shots on. He's going to get ownership, but I like Everett as well. He could even become like the most targeted guy on the team if it's not going to be Palmer or Eckler. But in terms of like the receiving core, it's going to be him and Palmer really getting all the targets, with Eckler getting a lot out of the backfield. But those two are going to have to step up without Williams Keenan Allen's been out for a while, so it's not really too much difference that way. But really, probably Everett, Tanyan, and Evan Ingram are like my favorite three. Defense-wise, your cheap defense would be possibly the Panthers. They can get to the quarterback a bit. We know the Bengals have offensive line issues. Furthermore, pay-up could be looking at possibly the Colts. I mean, there's not too many cheap defense that look that good. Possibly the Seahawks against Kyler Murray. I mean, they look decent. So Panthers, Seahawks, or the Bucks. 3K against Matthew Stafford at home. They have a great defense, and Rams offense been up and down all year. Same thing with Stafford. He's been up and down with the picks all year. They could have a pick six. I really don't see myself paying up for any of these defenses, so not really worth looking at them too much. If you wanted to, I look to pay out for the Patriots defense against the Colts, or possibly pay out for the Dolphins defense against the Bears. But these are the core guys I like on DraftKings. Pretty similar on FanDuel, but I'll just run through it over there. So the only main difference I have in the core on FanDuel is having Herbert as the quarterback instead of Geno Smith, just because he's only 300 more. I'm playing Eckler, I'm playing Palmer. Might as well throw in Herbert. DraftKings, he's like $1,600 more than Geno Smith, so it's a little bit tougher to get to him. But love Herbert's price tag. FanDuel is usually you're just going to pay out for a quarterback because everybody's kind of sandwiched in between. Not much of a difference getting to 71 Mariota instead of a 78 for Herbert. Running back, still looking to get to the most expensive guy in Austin Eckler on both sites. Stevenson's 8K, but he still would be a great play if there's no Harris. Mixon is cheap on DraftKings. You have Walker cheap. So running backs are priced up a little bit more, but still Foreman at 73. I think you're getting a great bargain there, being a 3-down back and getting all the carries. Travis Etienne, and put him in the flex. 3 running backs starting at the 1 o'clock games, but I mean, those 3, I love them. I think all 3 will probably have a touchdown, probably have opportunities to get over 100 yards, and definitely Eckler's going to catch a bunch of passes, but hopefully Foreman can get a few, and Etienne can get at least 3 or 4 like he did last week. Wide receivers, Moore is only 7K, so I like him, and then Palmer's only 62. He's be one of the better value picks for a receiver standpoint. McLaurin is also somewhat expensive at 72, so you can instead go to his teammate. These guys, Curtis Samuel is also going to benefit with Dotson still being out, so could take advantage there. He could take a shot on Drake London. He's been quiet since the first few weeks. If you're looking to pay up for a receiver, still be looking at Hopkins is closely priced. All these guys are within $400. So personally, I would just look to Jefferson or Kupp out of these top 5. But Hopkins, I think, will still have a great game. I love him on DraftKings. He would be my favorite pay up on DraftKings with his price tag. And then the 7K range, I like DJ Moore. I like some of these Seahawks guys. See, Lockett is more expensive, possibly Metcalf more. But I like to kind of stick with a similar core. 6K range, love Gabe Davis at 66, and I like Godwin. You can throw those guys in there, possibly in your last wide receiver spot. But that's what I got for you guys. Definitely will stack up the Chargers a bit. Stack up some of the Panthers, like Moore, Foreman. Guys are very cheap. They're going to get a lot of opportunities. Defense-wise, go cheap as I usually do. Tight ends on FanDuel, pretty similar as to they are on DraftKings. I like Everett a lot at 58. I like Ingram at 52. Dawson Knox and Tanyan's only 5K, so that's a steal right there. So that's what I got for you guys. Hope you guys make some money tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Best of luck, week number 9. And I'll see you all next time.